morning, everybody. Welcome to the Tasha and Bex Flex. It is 26th of the 5th, 22. I don't know why I'm telling everyone the day.
It's really important.
Well, no, yes, it is important, but for other reasons. Anyway, so today we thought, hang on. Firstly, welcome if you're watching on Devon, it's not Devon Kinsey Friends, Devon Advocate and Investigate, or Truth Pills, or anywhere else for that matter.
Absolutely.
We hope you're all well and thriving. Anyway, this morning we thought we'd have a look at the sun cream.
This is the clue. The clues in the eyes.
Here, look. We're not just trying to look really cool.
Really, uncool, I think. You look quite cool. You look like a classy 50.
Do I?
50, not 50-year-old, a classy 50s
actress. I am in my 50s, darling.
You are a classy 50-year-old.
I am a classy 52-year-old.
And I sort of look like, what do I look like?
Just like a weirdo.
Just like someone with a weird.
Do you want a different pair?
I've got somewhere, I've got some of the prescription in.
You've got prescription ones. I've got prescription ones for driving. Actually, the weird thing is me and Tash both don't like sunglasses.
I hate sunglasses. Oh, it's traumatic.
We find it really difficult to wear them, so we've never really been big sunglasses wearers. Are they your driving ones?
And I can see stuff.
Good.
I can see.
Mine are in the car, because the only time I wear sunnies like that is in the car, really, if it's really bright, and I'm forced to. But I've always had a hunch that wearing sunglasses and using sun cream can contribute to sun cancer. Skin cancer, not sun cancer.
Good name.
Yeah.
Didn't you have a
download?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been.
Remember you telling me it was about 2 years ago?
Yeah, about 2 years ago. I mean, I don't use sun cream. You've never used sun cream.
Never used sun cream, no.
But that's just because I've got a dark skin and I just felt like I couldn't be bothered to use it, really.
I just don't like it. I just don't get it. Why would you go out in the sun and cover yourself up with the sun, from the sun at the same time?
Well, because you've been told that it's bad for you. So, I had a little diggy dog looking at sunglasses and why they came about in the first place.
Interesting.
So they were protective eyewear designed to prevent bright sunlight and high energy visible light.
So like reflective light.
Well, high energy visible light. I mean, that I've never heard that. Have you? High energy visible light.
High energy.
Yeah.
Does that just mean the sun?
The high energy visible lights are the UVs. And the UVs
from the sun. So
it's
it's basically a glorified way of saying the sun, basically.
It is a glorified way of making it sound like it's something really singing and buzzy.
Henry's just eating something up my handbag.
And they were designed to protect the eyes from damage or discomfort. You know, so I guess squinting and watery eyes or whatever. So they were originally called sun cheaters, which I thought was interesting.
Cheat the sun.
Yeah, cheat that sun. And they were brought out in the early 20th century, in the 1920s, when I kind of dug in a little bit more. The guy that actually first designed them, I didn't write his name down, but he developed them because he was skiing.
So it's to reflect the glare off, I suppose.
Yeah, the glare. And
which makes sense then, doesn't it?
Yeah, and they weren't like sunglasses are now. They were just tinted glass.
Were they like goggles or were they actual glass?
I think they were literally just glasses that were just
very simple,
slightly tinted to take off the glare. And they became popular because by 1929, they were being sold on the beaches in America. But even then, in all of that time, 20s, 30s, 40s, they were only really worn on the ski slopes and on the beach. They weren't just worn around town or anything like that. It wasn't until the 1950s...
Fashion.
That the fashion came in and they developed what they called brow-line style sunglasses.
So like these big ones?
Yeah.
Probably a bit bigger, more ridged like that, aren't they?
And that shape. And then they went boom in the 50s and became very, very popular. And they, they were recommended to block ultraviolet radiation, protect from UV and blue light, which is the UVB, which is blue light, which I found weird because of my woo. Often I use blue light in healings.
And why do we need protecting from these natural lights?
This is the question, isn't it?
Yes.
Because they are natural.
And mammals have lived among them for...
But apparently they cause snow blindness, cataracts, I can't say that, pterygium, don't know what that is, and eye cancer in various forms. And this is what the medical experts said.
Okay.
And so the glasses that were developed later with the UVA and the UVBs in mind were blocking out 99%
of UVA and UVB, which is the same as what they do to your skin, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the same as sun cream. It's the same.
Yeah. So, and it blocks out this high energy visible light, which they call HEV.
HEV. I don't know much about that. That to me just sounds like the sunlight, doesn't it? High energy is high energy from the sun. It's just weird. But then it says visible.
If you think about the spiritual side, which is always what I'm doing, you know, I know that there's light. There are codes in light. There are light codes in the light. So is that high energy visible light to do with light codes? That's what I was sneakily feeling.
But if it's high energy, does that just mean sunlight that's produced? I mean,
that gives us
energy because it's visible. So that's what we can see is just sunlight. We can't see the UVA and the UVB.
No.
So is it that just a fancy way of just saying sunlight?
I think so. Just the good things in sunlight, probably.
Yeah.
So what happens when we put the sunglasses on is that it blocks the light from the eyes. So your brain thinks you're in a dark room.
Nice.
So what that actually does, the downside of sunglasses, is it stops your body producing melanocyte. Is that right?
Yeah, melanocyte. Yeah.
Melanocyte, which is a stimulating hormone, which then helps you to, it causes you to produce melanin. Now, melanin is how your skin is pigmented, but it basically protects your skin.
It's a natural sunscreen.
Yes, it's your own natural sunscreen.
Strange, that, isn't it?
So it protects your skin, and it also causes causes you to produce vitamin D3. So you know, your pigmentation of your skin, when you've got a birthmark, that's a big clump of melanin, and too much, or you know, just a big density of it. If you're lacking in melanin, you will develop vitiligo,
or you'll be an albino.
Or you'll be an albino. Yeah,
that just means they don't have any.
Yeah.
Any at all.
Exactly. So the vitamin D produced when your sunlight converts, you know, the melanin, and then you produce the vitamin D. Sorry, the vitamin D also converts cholesterol on the skin into calciferol. Calciferol, right?
D3,
yeah. So it's
crazy.
Also ties in with the cholesterol thing. If you look back, we did a video called The Cholesterol Conundrum, which
because every cell in our body is basically made up of cholesterol, and of course
really vital to us.
The fat under your skin's cholesterol.
Yeah,
that's what cholesterol is.
Yeah. So the vitamin D goes into your liver and converts the vitamin D into this calcidiol, which is happens in the liver, and then it also goes into your kidneys and converts in the kidney as well into active D3.
It's basically vital throughout
every
system within the body, by the sounds of it.
Yeah. So actually, in this document I was reading, it said, therefore, statins and other medications which inhibit cholesterol synthesis and liver function or kidney function can impair the synthesis of vitamin D in the body. So wearing sunglasses, makes you burn. Gives you sunburn.
So basically, because your pupils aren't open, it basically dilates them, so your body thinks there isn't that sunlight, and then it doesn't produce the melanin.
It doesn't produce the melanin. So then you find yourself also not producing any vitamin D.
Yeah.
And you know, it messes up the whole.
It's just another way of blocking out the sun, and it's
just crazy.
What we need it for, isn't it?
Yeah. So really, we should take our sunglasses off.
Yeah, I can't cope. That's really stressful.
Yeah, that's better.
No, I can't see at all.
It is like being in a dark room all the time. It's a bit weird.
Well, that's the only time I wear sunglasses, when I've got a migraine.
Oh, I was going to say when you're doing a podcast.
yeah, when I'm chatting. Yeah, when I've got a migraine.
I know. I mean, we were in that courtroom that day, and you had to put sunglasses on because you were getting a migraine, so you sat
That's
there
the only time, and it says it all, because then I feel like I'm in a dark room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, by putting them on.
So anyway, so we shouldn't be really wearing sunglasses. If you want to keep the sun out your face, just wear a peak cap or a straw hat. So the sun cream then was developed by a chemist called Franz Krettler, in 1946. And he called it glacier cream. Again, it came from skiing. Yeah, which is quite interesting that all of this came from...
Which you'd understand because it's going to be reflective
really glary.
Of the
white. It's going to be very, very bright, isn't it?
Yeah.
And in 1962, they developed the SPF factor.
Which is the dangerous stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. So they said that the UVB causes sunburn and the UVA caused cancer and premature aging. So that's why they developed this. So this was a bit later on, 1962, when they got really into grading it and all of that. So I had a look at the ingredients in sun cream, and it was like, wow. So this is sun cream, and sunblock is different, okay? So sun cream, there's two main ingredients, avobenzone and benzophenone.
Nasty.
Yeah, nasty words to say, nasty things to put on your
not
skin.
Right.
So the avobenzone, it degrades when it's exposed to the sun, okay? So you put it on your skin and then it actually breaks down and it results in harmful free radicals being released into the system because your skin is an organ.
What's its purpose?
It secretes and it absorbs.
Protects. So it's a protection layer.
Protection layer, right. So the free radicals are released into the system through the skin, and these free radicals accelerate aging and increase the risk of cancer. And this avobenzone is also in so many sprays, creams, lip balms, makeup.
Everything, won't it?
Yeah, it's
Do you think
really
they
bad.
say it's a preservative? Do you know what it is that they let us think it is? What the purpose for it being in the cream? Would it be a preservative?
Yes, preservative, and also these stop the product from drying out.
So it's all to do with shelf life.
It's to do with shelf life, yeah. So the benzophenone is used, right, so that's also in lip balms, nail varnishes, food packaging, laundry tablet things, cleaning products, perfume, shampoo, baby sun creams.
Whoa.
Yeah. And conditioners and all of that. So a lot of beauty products contain both of these things. And with this guy, this benzophenone, I can't read my writing. Oh, it's bioaccumulative as well. So the more you put on, your body doesn't get rid of it. It builds and builds and builds. It collects and collects and collects. And it is linked again to cancers and endocrine disruption and your vital organ systems becoming toxic. So, this endocrine disruption, I knew about that from lots of beauty products, hence why I don't use beauty stuff. I make my own, which I'm going to show in a minute. But so that's sun cream. Sunblock works in a different way. It reflects and scatters the sun's rays, and actually the ingredients of sunblock are not
fine, aren't they?
Yeah, they're fine. Basically sunblock is titanium dioxide and zinc oxide, and as long as you don't eat the zinc oxide, it's fairly safe to use.
It's like a protective layer over the skin.
Completely
it doesn't absorb,
blocks,
does it? It just stops. It's just like a...
Yeah, and they do use titanium dioxide as a nano material in cosmetic sunscreen. So if you're using a moisturiser, which is
like a tinted SPF or something,
then that's going to have these nanoparticles in. But it's safe. I mean,
so it's a scatter thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I take zinc every day anyway because it's difficult for us to absorb it. So that, to me, if you really don't want the sun on your skin, you use a total sunblock.
And you think about like pseudo-creme on a baby when you put that on a nappy, how it does not absorb into the skin, and that will have, I think it's probably got titanium dioxide in it as well. It's definitely got zinc in it, and it just proves that it's like a barrier, and that is kind of what that type of sunscreen doing. It's just putting a barrier between your skin, so it's not absorbing into the skin, it's putting a barrier between your skin and the sun. Yeah. Because if it absorbed, it wouldn't work, would it?
No. So it's, if you're going to go for it, that's
what all the surfers used to wear.
Yeah.
Basically on their nose and across there to stop burning.
Absolutely.
It blocks it.
Titanium dioxide is also used in paints, coatings, plastics, adhesives, rubber, cosmetics, coats paper. It's also used as a preservative. So that's the titanium dioxide, again, enhances shelf life, presents, quick degrading of whatever's in it, and so it's also used on the outside of tablets, drugs, you know, the capsules, and all of that. So the FDA said that all of these ingredients were safe.
Of course.
But the FDA say that everything's safe. But I looked at the International Agency for Research on Cancer, and they said that the ingredients in the sun cream were possible carcinogenics to humans. They did some experiments with rats, and they developed tumours in their lungs.
Wow.
But also the titanium is used in
toothpaste.
Yeah,
it is, isn't it? If you think
white.
about yeah.
Well, I use charcoal toothpaste, so my toothpaste is black.
I use the pink stuff, erythritol.
Oh yeah,
because it's got no fluoride or anything in it.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? So, and then I looked at skin cancer because I wanted to see whether it correlated that when we started to use sunglasses and sun creams.
Did cancer go like that by any chance?
It did. So it's skin cancer is the 17th most common cancer, and in terms of causing a death.
Is that an American statistic?
These were American. This little bit here. So it's one of the most common, and there are more skin cancer cases per year than all the other cancers put together, which I thought was quite incredible, really, when you think how many different cancers there are. That's the most common.
But then that probably includes the really small ones, like the ones that don't grow, you know, the BCGs and the stuff like that, which they can just remove. I mean, they carry on growing, but they're not. They don't kill you.
That's not death. That's just actual cases.
Because pretty much every old person I've ever come across has skin cancer, but not melanoma. It's the other ones. So like
they just cut it out.
Basal cell carcinoma and stuff like that, and they basically they just cut them out. Or put this cream on that burns it away. But if they didn't do that, all it would happen is it would just keep growing. So have you seen like people sometimes with like horns?
I've seen it on noses, like a big thing.
Oh, I just want to get it out, don't you?
No, I don't. I just like want to run away.
I would like get it out.
I'm like, ooh, what's on that? I mean, you don't want to stare, do you? But when someone's got some big thing on their face,
like a nail almost growing out, a horn.
Like
it's
a horny.
They are horny. Yeah.
Anyway, enough about horny old people. So that in England, I found 2012 there were 5.4 million cases in over 3.3 million people. And there were 1,400 deaths in the UK in 2018. Now, what I found was that a lot of the statistics, there hadn't been anything. It's recently, like they don't. So it's just
that's the earliest you could find.
Yeah. And 2018 for that, for the deaths. But it's almost like they're not monitoring it. Yeah. So that was the most that I could find.
Wow.
So cancer trends during the 20th century, I found a really interesting paper written by this Swedish guy, did his own research, and he had all these charts showing all the different cancers. So I found the melanoma one. And it was incredible. The line went along, and then it got to 1955, and it just went like that.
So that was the introduction of sun cream and glasses.
Yes. And really, the sunglasses really took off in the 50s.
I suppose if you really think about the eyes though and how important they are, and
eyes
it makes
are the doorway to the soul.
And it just makes perfect sense if you're blocking out natural sunlight. It's going to send mixed messages, isn't it?
Yeah, your brain's going to think, oh, I'm in the dark.
Even if you are physically in it, your system is one part of it's been shut down.
Yeah.
In that whole process of how it's
just very unnatural thing to do.
Yeah.
So, the death rates just went right up after 1955. And the other thing that I found really interesting was that asthmas and allergies boomed at the same time. And this endocrine interruption, I looked into that, as I told you, some years ago and started making my own stuff. Because if you interrupt the endocrine system, it's hormones, integral to your... It's hormones, it's everything.
Thyroids, it's...
Everything. It's your lymph, it's just everything. But we don't know whether... I couldn't find anything that linked endocrine interruption to immune disorders, but I think that might be another deep dive at some point.
And also, could it just be this same time? Was it the 1950s that they started putting stuff into us that could cause allergies and asthma, putting stuff in the air, putting stuff in the food? I mean, was this like a peak time for this mass poisoning?
Well, if you think about the end of the Second World War, we now know that all those people, those dark people, went off and went to South America and regrouped. And they had all the ideas for what's going on now then, and they started to put things in place. It would it would work out about
could have been
10
a
years
timing,
later.
couldn't it, where they just managed to
they've
poison
got
us in
to
every
get
way possible.
they've had it's taken a few years, but they've got all the systems up and the poisons are starting to take
obviously
effect.
both asthma and allergies as well. I mean, asthma's lower respiratory and allergies are upper, but it's it's a contagion, if you like, an irritant from an outside force or whatever. Yes, it just makes you wonder if they just really hit us hard in that time, doesn't
I think they did. They did. So I don't use anything much that's going to interrupt my endocrine system, but I do make some sun stuff.
She makes black cherry jam.
Yeah, I make black cherry jam that looks like yellow. But this is my sun cream. It's just coconut oil. I don't make it for me. My daughter uses it sometimes.
I just use carrot oil.
Well, it's got raspberry seed oil in it and carrot oil.
Yeah, I just use
drops.
pure Carol.
Yeah,
Carol,
yeah. Get Carol round. She'll sort you out.
Carol.
But yeah, and I just.
Can I smell?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Good smell.
It smells of jam. No, it doesn't.
That's a good one.
And then the other thing is my deodorant. I make my own deodorant, which is why I smell of pasties.
Which is why we smell. I make mine as well. Yours is slightly different to mine.
I know.
I put... yours smells nice. Yours smells
yeah, so that's just coconut oil, bicarbonate of soda, because that eats any bacteria in your armpits. And I think I've got lavender.
And I just put a little bit of some sort of starch powder in with mine.
Do you?
That absorbs the moisture. Because that's the wet side of it.
Where do I get starch powder?
You can do anything. You can get potato starch. You can just get... oh, God, there's all sorts, isn't there? Arrowroot.
Oh, I've got some of that.
Stuff like
okay,
that.
So
and all that does is it just makes it an antiperspirant as well.
Sweat, yeah?
Yeah.
But basically, I don't use anything on my skin now other than coconut oil. I've been like that for a while.
Amazing.
And really, we shouldn't be wearing makeup because that's all full of shit.
Unless you can get really good stuff, I suppose.
But I don't wear loads. Sometimes I do when
I put mascara on, as you can see.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of eye makeup, and I like to wear sometimes lippy, but there are plenty of days where I don't wear anything.
Yeah, exactly. I only wear makeup if I'm going out, which I don't do very often. Like today. Sorry, it's just really irritating me.
Sorry, it's because I normally hold it. Right, I can put my notes away and I can hold the mic now, Tasha, and it won't irritate you anymore. But yeah, so that's very interesting. And I think my hunch was right. Well, my guides were right. We shouldn't be wearing sunglasses and we certainly shouldn't be wearing sun cream. Not that I'm telling anyone what to do, but, you know, the evidence is right there, really. It's just
stuff, isn't it?
Too much of a coincidence.
The only thing I found out extra about...
oh, yes, you had some stuff on...
Melanin, which I thought was just interesting just because of what they seem to be doing to us in general. Sorry, I left all my notes at home, so I had to get Oscar to...
Bless.
I had to get Oscar to send them to me, and he sent them to me all upside down. And every time I try and look at them, they flip.
They flip around.
How do I just make that one?
You've got to rotate.
Yeah, but now it's really small. Okay, that's fine.
Oh, it's going to keep flipping.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it sideways. 3 types of melanin.
So the 3 types, which is it's spinning me out. Okay, I will just have to do it. I'll do it like that. Yeah, so the 3 types of melanin, which Bex sort of covered, you've obviously got your dark, which does sort of brown and black skin, which is coloured skin as well, white skin as well, and then the other major one
but we've just got less than a black person.
It might potentially be a different size.
Oh, okay.
I don't know 100%, but I think that might be what it is. It's the size
of the
that the cells are, and then the lighter one is actually more to do with freckly people and redheads. So they have quite a distinct
different
one of their own. Yeah. But the most interesting one is we also have a neuromelanin. And it's found in the brain and the central nervous system, and it is crucial for optimum brain and nerve function.
Brain function.
So crucial for that. So melanin itself appears to be a critical and versatile part of the body's chemistry, basically, necessary to sustain life itself, especially in the brain and the nervous system. And to understand its true importance, we need to understand that the compound is pretty much made of carbon, which is interesting. So, of course, it's the building block and matter of life. Carbon. Yeah. So that was interesting. And then I looked a little bit further, and it says, basically, so the melanin, the carbon in the melanin basically enhances the body's spiritual, physical and mental process in the same way that chlorophyll, is it called in plants? That chlorophyll enhances the biochemical process in plants. So you think the greener the plant, the healthier the plant. You can kind of maybe look at melanin being a little bit like that.
So almost the browner you are, the healthier you are.
Yeah, I think probably. Yeah.
And
there is something
melanin is far more crucial.
Yes.
If it's about brain function.
Brain function,
as well.
yes, and got a neuro thing to it.
And if you think about it, so the sun causes the chloroform to be produced in the plants, and the melanin.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So as a result of higher levels of melanin, they think this may lead to a greater efficiency of the body's biochemical process in general. But it results in improved awareness and ability to achieve a higher spiritual consciousness. So I just thought that was an important thing, because if that's another thing they're trying to take away.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to do that. They're trying to stop, us from ascending. So blocking the melanin also means perhaps the melanin helps your pineal gland to be stimulated.
I always think you're going to say penis when you say, because you say pee, like penal. I was just going to say it. I was going to say penis.
No,
it's going to stimulate your penis.
I'm not worried about saying penis, but I haven't got.
But you're worried about stimulating your penis.
I haven't got one to stimulate, so there we go. Well, not on my body. I've got one I can stimulate.
Got one,
it's not mine.
In the background, somewhere.
Yeah. Anyway, that will get him excited when he listens to this. But yeah, so basically, again, it's a takedown of any kind of spiritual, higher thinking, higher consciousness.
Yeah. More, is there more to it?
Yes.
So what you looked at sun cream, and I had a little look at fruit wax, because it's a similar look. Fruit wax.
When you said to me you were going to do fruit wax, I was like, wow.
Which probably sounds a little bit weird.
But it's just random. It's like, I did, it's just like not one of those things that's been
I
on
just
my
was
mind.
like, we know that wax is falsely waxed. No, it's not. Fruit.
Yeah, fruit is falsely waxed.
It's falsely waxed, don't we? We are aware of that.
Yes.
It's shiny apples and stuff like that. But basically, when fruit and vegetable is growing naturally, it has its own natural wax. So the obvious ones are like things like kiwis and oranges. It's obvious because they have a skin.
Yes.
But then when you look at things like plums and cherries, if you look, you get that
Dusty.
If you see them on a tree,
looks like dusty, not dusty.
It is dusty. It's white.
Yes.
And you can take the whiteness off. So you can see it. And blueberries are a real classic example.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of what makes them blue.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're purple, aren't they? Or black almost.
Coating.
Yeah. So that coating there would be the natural wax, if you like, and basically that wax prevents
insects.
Oh, it prevents it from drying out.
Okay.
So water loss is the main thing. So in nature, it prevents it drying out.
Okay.
It also protects stuff getting in, including insects and things like that. Eating it makes it harder, but also things like fungi and bacteria. And if you had a blueberry still on the tree, and you were to wipe that wax off whilst it was still growing, it would probably decay quite quickly compared to the ones with the wax on. So it's a natural shelf life.
So it would maybe dry out and come off.
Because it hasn't got that protection. So basically the moisture would probably be the main problem.
Yeah.
The fact that
it would dehydrate.
Yeah, that it would get the water loss, and then it kind of like spoils, if you like. So basically shrink considerably because they best way to put it is they breathe and sweat, don't they?
Yeah,
they
like
breathe
anything that's
and
alive.
sweat.
Yeah.
And when they do that, they release the carbon dioxide, water, and heat through their skins. Although they do actually release 10 times more oxygen than carbon dioxide, which is good to know. So fruit and veg in general do.
So we should all be lying around in fruit and veg patches.
Probably should do.
Breathing deeply.
So even once they're picked off the tree, fruit and veg, they're still very, very much alive. They're still breathing. They're still sweating. And this, of course, sweating. Can you think about sweaty cherries and plums? Sweaty plums.
Yes.
She likes stimulating penises and sweaty plums. She's obviously getting it, isn't she? Eh? Something's going on here. Anyway, that's another story. So they're very much alive, breathing and sweating, which of course then leads them to shrink and shrivel and decay. Now you're thinking about balls even more and willies now, aren't you? But this is nature's way of their natural coating protecting their demise, if you like.
Yes.
Yeah. So once they're harvested,
nature's already designed a really good system.
Basically, a really good.
Yeah.
So once they're harvested, they go off, don't they? And they get washed. And basically, the reasoning that these farmers or places, I don't know what you'd call fruit washing places,
food processing plants.
So basically, they say they need to be cleaned to get rid of the pesticides, the fungi, and the bacteria. But of course, in the process of doing this, what comes off?
The natural wax.
Their natural wax comes off.
Fruit wax.
Their fruit wax comes off. So unfortunately, the produce then has to either get sprayed or dipped in a solution which dries into their new protective coating. basically. And that's why they look perfect and shiny and nice, and humans like that perfect shiny. If you were to see like a nice shiny apple and a duller apple with its natural wax, people will probably go for the shiny, because that's what we've become to think is good.
Yeah.
That's the way our brains have been conditioned.
Yes.
So basically these coatings are like supercharged. So they're basically doing what the natural process should do, but on steroids, basically. They're basically, this fruit could possibly last months and months with this protector layer on. So basically the fungi and bacteria aren't going to get through. And yeah, it's basically. So
is the chemical thing that they put on there almost like holding the fruit and veg in a suspended animation then?
It's preserving it to a level that's, the wax substitute's used obviously to seal in the moisture, so if it can't breathe and sweat properly, it doesn't spoil in the same way.
I'm starting to feel sorry for fruit now.
I know, it's really bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Such a thing. So then you look at the cocktail of things, you think, oh, is it just a wax that they put on? But it's actually a cocktail of things.
Oh, God, let's hear it.
And, they're called food coating companies actually exist. So there's companies and they're called food coating companies. They guard their formula very, very much.
Oh, really?
But what they're known to include is a wax to lock in the moisture, a fungicide to protect against mould, and an emulsifier to make sure there is an even coating again, to make it look right and to make sure that the mixture's perfect and it produces this wax that they want.
Other than that, were you not able to find out what's in it?
That's all we can find out.
I mean, that raises alarm bells for me when something is not available.
So it's just three very generic sort of, we have that, and that.
Yeah.
So the waxes in the synthetic camp, you have petroleum-based stuff.
Yeah, okay.
So
that's Vaseline.
So you've got like paraffin, mineral oil, and polyurethane. And polyurethane is the most commonly used plastic worldwide, which is pretty grim in itself, isn't it?
Mm.
Oh, Oscar sent them in the wrong order.
Oscar.
I'm going to get really confused now. Or maybe he hasn't. Maybe I'm being mean. Yeah, so So they're the main sort of waxes that they'd use in that camp. So, sorry, Oscar. It's just upside down again and a bit thingy. So the organic approved list of waxes they use are canuba, which is the leaves of the canubla palm, which I've not heard of.
No.
So imagine the farming for that in itself, just to wax all the fruit.
So you're going to get the wax off of
but just
plant,
how many? They've just plant them just for that reason, which I just think is insane. And this is considered good. This is the organic way of doing it. Then they also use shellac, which you've probably heard in
on your nails.
In nails.
Oh God!
But shellac is a resin which is secreted from bugs in Thailand and India. And then they also use a wood rosin. They call it a rosin rather than a resin. But it kind of is. But it's basically the pine stump. So they take the pine stump and they get it from there.
Pine stump.
So they get a pine tree, stump it, and then they use stamp it off, stump it, and then do whatever with it. So they collect it from there. So all of that isn't very good for the environment. Is it just growing?
It's ridiculous.
Crushing up bugs, growing palms, chopping down trees, and this is
organic.
And
then the actual process of getting
doing
it from there.
But then that's considered organic, which is mad. And then there's also an American shrub as well called a candelia, which they get it from. And then the other thing they can use is organic beeswax as well. But again, that's not very good for the vegans.
And that would be very expensive.
Yeah, it would be very expensive, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So that's the waxes they use for that. And then fungicides are just fungicides. There's not much to it. It's just a drug. Like, like Caniston, if you had a rancid fanny, that type of thing. You had a cottage cheese fanny. So something like that. I don't know which type they'd use.
Yeah.
But that would do that. Because actually rotting fruit in itself, anyway, we think we forget, that is a fungus party, isn't it? That is basically just full-on fungus, having like an absolute ball of a time.
Yeah.
So emulsifier brings everything together, and the synthetics of that include morpholine, which is a colourless compound liquid, which smells like fish.
Oh.
So that's nice. So they emulsify it all, and we get a nice little fishy smell, which is lovely, isn't it? And a bit of fishy fruit. Looking like a bit of fishy kiwi.
Oh, God.
Oh, maybe we should have some cod and kiwi tonight.
I don't know if I'm ever going to eat fruit again after this.
So the FDA approved this. So that's very much American based, that fishy one. But so the FDA have approved that. However, it isn't approved under EU regulations. The compound itself is okay, but a chemical reaction can occur in our bodies if nitrates are present. And when that happens, it becomes a carcinogen, basically. And we get nitrates from lots of leafy green vegetables. So we could do that like naturally, having that.
Yeah.
We could have a sausage that's been preserved with nitrates. A sausage.
Sausage that's been
She's
preserved
obsessed.
with
Yeah,
nitrates.
yeah, in nitrate. Or we could get it from water that's contaminated with nitrate. So nitrate's very much in our...
It's in
the
the
thingy,
systems anyway.
So, so at the moment, as it stands, obviously we're not EU anymore, are we?
No.
So we could be getting a lot more of this American food that we were kind of protected from.
Yeah, the EU did actually protect us from a lot of stuff.
So it's their
in the
chicken,
food.
and that's really bad, isn't it? That we didn't have.
Yeah,
Who knows whether they'll do a deal trade at some point with America. And we were talking earlier, aren't they, with America being obviously the most highly populated white country. They seem to get hit the hardest with all the poisons, the obesity. It's almost like kill them off first, isn't it? Poison them.
Yeah, and it's where everything was set up.
Yeah.
Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just kill 'em all.
all started there. So it's the head.
It's the
quarters,
isn't it?
yeah.
So some citrus fruits can be preserved, so citrus, so oranges, lemons, limes, for up to 6 months and then transported. So whatever they put on that can make it last 6 months, then transported.
So it's just
then on our supermarket.
So it's in a suspended animation.
Yeah, it's like being frozen. It's preserved, isn't it? It's a similar thing, but it's done by
but the life force
suffocating.
and the goodness in that fruit or vegetables surely gonna dissipate in that time.
It's mental, isn't it? Lots of farmers who grow these types of citrus fruits would never ever let their family members or their kids ever suck on like a lemon or a lime, where the rind might touch their mouth, apparently, because it's that badly contaminated. Basically, that they just wouldn't. They just basically know what's in it.
They know what's in it, and they wouldn't have any of it.
And another example. Sorry, I'm going to have to hold my phone at a weird angle. Another example of food...
Doing really well, Tash.
That is really... I've been really hard. Have you seen it? It's been spinning out.
It's been spinning. You've been reading upside down from the side. I'm so impressed.
Yeah, so an example of other food that is preserved for shelf life are eggs, which I didn't know, but it makes sense because if you think the shell of an egg can probably still breathe, can't it? So it would need to for the life inside to live, wouldn't it? So it would have a weird membrane that would somehow... produce that type of thing. The other thing is any nuts without shells, because again you've taken off that protective barrier. So you're much better off buying
nuts in shells.
Yeah, don't denut.
No, don't denut your nuts.
Do not denut. Oh, hang on, I moved again. And things like candy and sweets that are very glossy, that will have a similar type of thing in it.
So the jelly ones maybe like those jelly
and just
cherries
hard boiled
things.
probably as well, because if you think about it, they've got like a shiny coat, and again it makes them look nice. If they were dull, you wouldn't be so drawn to them, and it preserves it as well. So basically the global food system completely depends on food lasting longer than ever before, and that is what they do. So when we think we've got even our nice organic fruit and veg, it's still heavily processed. So basically we're eating processed food under the guise of natural food, and that's not even to mention the GMO and all that stuff that we know about anyway.
So probably the organic fruit and veg are very expensive because of the process of doing this
using the natural
thing.
waxing, rather than the actual, because it's everything, isn't it? I think cherries, I don't know, well no, peppers are waxed, aren't they, because they've got a waxy coating.
Peppers are very shiny,
courgettes maybe not. When you see them growing in the ground, they do look,
they're quite shiny anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, they've got that natural. Aubergines are probably shined up. Again, it depends. If you
Sorry. Just imagining someone shining.
Just polishing my aubergines.
Yes.
Before I soak them in salt to take the bitterness out.
Yes.
But yeah, think how shiny an aubergine is now. They are
shiny.
really shiny, and they will have that natural thing in them, and their coating's quite leathery, so that's a good protection for slugs and stuff like that. But yeah, if you think of it, so it's veg as well, isn't it?
So really, we should be looking towards
growing our own stuff
and eating our own beautifully produced fruit and veg. Without any of
additives
this
or
silly
preservatives.
interference.
And the only thing is you're going to be putting water into it. It'd be too expensive to filter all.
Distill.
Unless you're lucky enough. I mean, I get all my water. I'm really lucky. Will's got a friend who's got his own whole bore system and everything, and it's lush. It's lovely. So we just collect. We've got these great big canisters, and we just collect it every couple of weeks. But again, you couldn't afford to then water all your veg.
I had a conversation with a lady in Dorset a few weeks ago, and she found she had a well.
Wow.
And so what she's done, because I said, oh, have you opened it up? Blah, blah, blah. No, what she's done though, she's piped the water into the house.
Into the house.
So all of her water in her house is this beautiful spring water.
Well, if you think about it, we would have all had probably a well or a borehole or a spring or something at the end of a road, wouldn't we? We would have all gone down and collected it.
Where we're sitting at the moment, this was the laundry.
The wash house.
Yeah, the wash house for the row of houses that I live in originally, because there was a door there.
So they're coming in and basically done all their washing.
Well, when I was dousing, as you do, there's water in my yard. I've said to you, I think there's a well down there. Because if this was the laundry, you would have had to have the water right there.
Yeah.
But I'm not staying here, otherwise I'd open it up.
Yeah, but I think that's...
I'm leaving.
She's going, she's departing. But I think that's really a real sort of... You know, the water is there because it was always there before. We've always used water, and it would have been a collective thing where you'd have gone out with your big standpipe or whatever, and they just took all that away and turned it into the corporation and fucking put it in put it in the sewage plant and added loads of shit to it. It's just disgusting, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Disgusting!
Without our consent.
All I'm thinking about now is plums.
All I'm thinking about is having a wee.
I love plums.
Do you?
Not men's plums. Plums and green gauges. Do you like green gauges?
I love green gauges.
See, they used to be grown in every garden with Victoria plums all across the UK. And I went to my greengrocers the other day and I said, when your green gauges coming in? Oh, we can only get them from France. They'll be in August.
But they're a natural. We need to start growing them again now.
And they're just lush. Oh, green gauge. Oh, I love them. Yeah, and they should be in every... They're like a classic cottage garden with Victoria plums. UK.
It's got to be Victoria plums. Yeah, no other plum will do.
I'm pretty sure Victoria plums are English ones, aren't they?
Yes, of course they are, because of Queen Victoria.
So that's why they grow here, isn't it? I'm not being
no,
posh.
you're not being a twonk.
Victoria plum, and they're nice because they're a bit green gagey.
Yeah.
They're a mix of the two, bit jammy.
So we need to plant up some soft fruits, basically.
Yeah, and we should be growing apples and pears, all of it.
Apples.
Coxes, like you're growing some cocks.
Yeah.
Some cocks and plums.
But I used to have, them as a little girl. My gran was a really green-fingered, she had a massive garden, and I always used to just go out and pick neat.
And when we lived in France, every garden has tons of fruit trees, but they also have nut trees. Loads of like walnuts and all that sort of stuff as well.
My dad's got a hazelnut tree in his garden.
But we all at some point thought it was a good idea to take it all out.
And
why?
Buy it instead.
Why? Yeah, but we should never have taken it out of our gardens, should we?
No, definitely not.
Even like when you get community orchards now, they're all up for sale. All of them. There's a lovely one. There's one that's just gone for sale somewhere locally. There's one in Dartmouth, which is just, they never look after it. It's gorgeous. And that would be the same. They'll sell it.
How much it is.
Oh, yeah. What's the point to look at that? But they're selling even stuff like that now, community orchards, because nobody goes and picks the friggin' apples and they just all sit there and rot. Terrible. It's a free fruit source and nobody goes to pick them.
Well, I thought before, why don't all the trees that we have in parks and that, why aren't they fruit trees
anyway?
Why aren't they fruit trees?
Why is there only those ones left?
Because then as you're walking along, your child goes, Mummy, I'm hungry. Yeah. You can just pick an apple.
Pick a tree,
There you go, love.
I'm sure it used to be like that.
Yes, it did.
It's all by design, isn't it?
All by design, all by design.
Anyway,
so when you're out there tanning, because we're having such great weather, just remember, no sunglasses. It's just
and look at alternatives like carrot oil, and I love carrot oil. It really moisturises my skin. I get really bad itchy skin. It helps with that as well.
Yeah, it's very good for you.
Coconut oil is brilliant on the skin. And it's not about lying in the sun. It's about being in the sun and enjoying it. It's not about this whole worshipping thing that they did, where you sort of sit there. It's just about being in it and then being sensible. If you've had enough sun, you just go in the shade. You just have a parasol. I don't put a t-shirt on. Yeah, that's just a natural sunscreen. Just cover yourself up. Wallow in mud.
Yeah, just have a roll around. You can have a roll around
in the mud. Just sit in the shade, isn't it?
Yeah, sit in the shade or live in England where it never. Anyway, guys, we will be back next week, won't we, Tash?
Yes, we will.
And hope you all have a bloody lovely week.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.